Ilara had always felt like an outsider in her own life, with dreams that soared high above the gray skies of her mundane existence. She often found herself lost in thought, yearning for something more. The small town she lived in, with its predictable routines and familiar faces, felt like a cage, and she was the bird longing to break free. Every day, she watched as people moved through their lives, oblivious to the magic that lay just beyond their reach. Hidden in the shadows of the world, her fascination with the supernatural began in childhood, sparked by bedtime stories filled with fantastical creatures and epic battles. Her grandmother, a woman of mystique and wisdom, would weave tales of monsters that roamed the night, of heroes who fought against the darkness, and of the thin veil that separated the ordinary from the extraordinary. Ilara would listen, wide-eyed and captivated, dreaming of the day she could summon her own monster, a creature that would bring her the adventure she so desperately craved. But as she grew older, the stories faded into the background, overshadowed by the responsibilities of adulthood. She worked at a local bookstore, surrounded by the very tales that once ignited her imagination. The musty scent of old pages and the soft rustle of paper brought her comfort, yet it also served as a constant reminder of the life she had yet to live. Her co-workers often teased her about her daydreams, dismissing them as childish fantasies. "You'll grow out of it," they would say. But Ilara felt a fire within her that refused to be extinguished. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting an orange glow across the town, Ilara found herself wandering through the aisles of the bookstore, her fingers trailing along the spines of the books. It was then that she stumbled upon a dusty tome hidden behind a row of forgotten novels. The cover was worn, and the title was barely legible, but something about it called to her. She pulled it from the shelf, and as she opened the book, a chill ran down her spine. Inside, the pages were filled with intricate illustrations of creatures that defied imagination, monsters with scales and claws, ethereal beings that shimmered like starlight, and dark figures that lurked in the shadows. But it was the text that captivated her. It spoke of ancient rituals, of summoning and binding, of tapping into the primal forces that lay dormant within every soul. Ilara's heart raced as she read the incantation, the words rolling off her tongue like a melody. "Let them have what they asked for," she whispered, feeling a surge of energy coursing through her. That night, under the light of a full moon, Ilara stood in her backyard, the air thick with anticipation. She had gathered the necessary ingredients, candles, herbs, and a small mirror that reflected the moonlight. As she traced the symbols from the book in the dirt, she felt a connection to something greater than herself, a force that pulsed with life and power. With each word of the incantation, she felt the ground tremble beneath her feet, and the air crackled with electricity. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifted, the wind howled, and the shadows around her began to twist and writhe. In that moment, Ilara realized the weight of her actions. She had called forth a monster, something born from her deepest desires and fears. As the darkness coalesced before her, she felt both exhilaration and dread. What had she unleashed? From the swirling shadows emerged a creature unlike any she had ever imagined. It was a magnificent beast, towering over her with scales that shimmered like obsidian and eyes that glowed with an otherworldly light. Its wings unfurled, casting a shadow that engulfed her, and Ilara stood frozen in awe and terror. This was no mere figment of her imagination. This was a living, breathing monster. "Do you know what you have done?" The creature rumbled, its voice a deep growl that reverberated through her bones. Ilara's heart raced as she struggled to find her voice. I wanted you, she stammered, realizing the truth of her desires. She had longed for chaos, for adventure, for a taste of the wild that lay beyond her reality. The monster regarded her with a mixture of curiosity and disdain. You wished for a monster, and here I am. But know this, I am not your pet to command. I am a reflection of your innermost self, a manifestation of your desires and fears. Can you handle the chaos that comes with me? Ilara felt a rush of emotions, fear, excitement, and an overwhelming sense of responsibility. She had sought adventure, but she never considered the consequences of her actions. What do I do now? She asked, her voice trembling. The monster tilted its head, as if contemplating her question. You must confront the darkness within you. Embrace it, or it will consume you. Together, we can unleash chaos upon this world, but you must be willing to accept what that means. As the days turned into weeks, Ilara found herself navigating a new reality. The monster, which she named Kale, became both a companion and a teacher. He showed her the beauty of chaos, the thrill of breaking free from societal norms, the exhilaration of embracing her true self. Together, they roamed the night, exploring the hidden corners of the world that were often overlooked by those too afraid to venture beyond the light. But with every adventure came challenges. Ilara faced the judgment of her peers, who whispered behind her back and questioned her sanity. They could not understand the bond she shared with Kale, nor could they comprehend the transformation taking place within her. As she embraced her inner monster, she also confronted her fears, her insecurities, her doubts, and the parts of herself she had long buried. One night, as they stood atop a cliff overlooking the town, Kale spoke of the balance between light and dark. You cannot have one without the other, Ilara. To embrace your true self, you must accept both the beauty and the horror that resides within you. Ilara nodded, feeling the weight of his words. She had always believed that monsters were to be feared, but now she understood that they were also a part of her. The darkness she had once shunned was not something to be afraid of. It was a source of strength, a wellspring of creativity that could propel her forward as she delved deeper into her newfound identity. Ilara began to challenge the expectations of those around her. She started expressing herself through art, creating vivid paintings that depicted the chaos and beauty of her experiences with Kale. Her work resonated with others, and soon she found a community of like-minded individuals who celebrated the monster within themselves. However, not everyone embraced this change. A group of townsfolk, fearful of what they could not understand, began to rally against Ilara and Kale. They saw the monster as a threat, a harbinger of chaos that would disrupt their peaceful lives. Fueled by fear and ignorance, they sought to banish the creature that had become a part of Ilara's life. Ilara felt the weight of their judgment pressing down on her. She had fought so hard to embrace her true self, yet now she faced the very real possibility of losing everything she had gained. It was time for her to confront not only the townspeople, but also her own fears of rejection and isolation in a climactic confrontation. Ilara stood before the townsfolk, Kale by her side. The air was thick with tension as she spoke, her voice steady and resolute. I am not here to harm you. I am here to show you that we all have monsters within us, fears, desires, and dreams that shape who we are. Instead of fearing what you do not understand, embrace it. Let us find strength in our differences. The townsfolk looked at her, their expressions a mixture of confusion and fear. But as Kale spread his wings, casting a protective shadow over Ilara, something shifted. The fear that had once consumed them began to wane, replaced by curiosity and understanding. They saw not just a monster, but a reflection of their own inner struggles. In that moment, Ilara realized that she had not only summoned a monster, she had also summoned the courage to face her fears and embrace her true self. The battle was not just against the townsfolk, but against the limitations she had placed on herself. She had learned that monsters could be allies, that chaos could be a source of creativity, and that acceptance was the key to transformation. As the night wore on, Ilara and Kale stood together, no longer as master and monster, but as partners in a journey of self-discovery. They had faced the darkness and emerged stronger, ready to embrace whatever challenges lay ahead. The world may still see Kale as a monster, but Ilara knew the truth. He was a part of her, a manifestation of her strength, and together they would continue to explore the depths of their existence. In the end, Ilara's story became one of empowerment, a testament to the power of embracing one's inner monster. She learned that it was not about summoning chaos for chaos's sake, but about finding balance, acceptance, and understanding in a world that often feared the unknown. And so, she continued to paint, to create, and to inspire others to embrace their own monsters, reminding them that sometimes the very thing we fear can become our greatest strength.